I've made a lot of questionable decisions in my life, and some of them turned out really great, and some of them not so much. But the central thesis amongst all of these decisions was two words: why not? Now, 2 years ago, why not found me in my college dorm room. I was about to graduate. I had not a single clue what I wanted to do with my life. And I ended up booking a one-way ticket to Tokyo. Zero plans, zero idea what to do. And I wish I could tell you that there was some epiphany I had, some big dream to go and see the world, but really, I just had a desire to do something different and enough travel credit card points to get it done. So, with 3 days booked at a hostel in some little part of Japan, and no idea how long I'd be gone for, I went. And soon enough, I found myself in North Vietnam with another question. Should I go on this 4-day motorcycle loop with 10 strangers I had never met in my life? Now, normally this would be the part where a rational person would tell you, this sounds like a really bad idea, maybe we shouldn't do this. So, of course, I said no. Just kidding, I said yes. Naturally, over the next 4 days, those 10 strangers became some of my absolute best friends. All because I had the courage to say why not. Not to overanalyze, not to overthink, but to say why not. And it didn't just start with that one why not in Vietnam. It started with that why not several months before in my college dorm room where I had no idea what was going to happen. Over the next 5 months that I spent traveling around Asia, I had countless instances of why not. Why not got me to the most beautiful viewpoint in all of Laos, where I got to watch the sunset after a really sketchy hike. Why not got me a night spent at a local camp in the deserts of Jordan, all because I had the courage to say yes. It's not one why not that changes everything, it's the cascade of why nots that come from that first one that makes everything different and better. Now, I'd love to say that was the only questionable thing. My parents would probably really appreciate that was the only questionable decision I made. But a couple months after I came back from Asia, I met someone on a dating app, and instead of getting dinner or drinks, I said we should go to Trinidad as a first date. And he miraculously said yes. So I'm sitting here thinking in hindsight, you know what, maybe this is a really bold idea or a really stupid one, probably a little bit of both. But I did it anyway, because it wasn't about him, it wasn't about Trinidad, it wasn't about the trip, it was about me. It was about knowing that no matter what happened on that experience, that I trusted myself enough to know that I could get through anything, that I could learn from the experience and make the most of it. So, no, it wasn't the most perfect love story coming from that trip. But I learned that no matter what happened, I was going to be okay. And it all stemmed from that why not. And I will tell you as well that why not doesn't always look beautiful, magical, or perfect. Sometimes why not can also look really bad. But that's part of the breadth of the human experience. Why not also came to me about last year when my friend and I decided why not travel to Central Asia together. We were both avid travelers, we wanted to have a little bit of a rough and tumble experience, so we said why not. In particular, we really wanted to go on this one highway called the Pamir Highway. It's the second highest altitude road in the world, all through the remote Pamir Mountains of Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. A lot of countries that I couldn't even place on the map before that point. So we went, and maybe I was a bit overzealous as a native Floridian, as someone who is born at sea level and not really a mountainous person. But I said, let's do it anyway, and we went on the trip. And naturally, 2 days in, I wasn't feeling so great. Not only did I have really bad altitude sickness, but I also got every traveler's worst nightmare, food poisoning. I won't paint you an image here, but this is the type of food poisoning that you are really aware of how far away from home you are. So my friend and I looked at each other, we gave a little smile, we realized that we could not be there anymore, we had to go home. We were in the middle of the remote Pamir Mountains. It took us 20 hours in the car and 3 flights to get back home. 3 days later, I probably wasn't looking very good. But I smiled because I knew that that why not maybe didn't yield the most beautiful experience, but it yielded an experience that I could tell a story about, that I learned from, and I realized, yeah, you know what, I can do this. It doesn't matter if I have food poisoning, it doesn't matter if something crazy happens. I can still do it. And that's the moment when it shifted for me. Why not didn't just become, how can I take a bigger risk? How can I make a bold decision? It became a foundational understanding of, I trust myself to know what to do next. It became the confidence that I didn't have when I first made that decision to just figure it out and get it done. And I know I've told a lot of travel stories at this point, but it doesn't just go with travel. Obviously, that's where it came from, but it stretches to everything else. Because when you start looking for those why nots, you realize that they're everywhere. From learning how to ballroom dance just because I wanted to becoming a wedding DJ through college, to going to dinner with a random stranger on a Thursday night because I had nothing better to do. These are all little moments that made all the difference in the bigger picture, because I ventured to say, why not? And I knew that even if I didn't have the best experience or come away with a really cool story, at least I did it. I realized that the biggest risk wasn't saying yes and doing something crazy or something that my parents wouldn't appreciate. I realized that the biggest risk was saying no and not having any of those experiences and not knowing what could potentially happen. So I'm not going to stand up here as a 23-year-old and tell you how to live your life or tell you that I have it all figured out, because I definitely don't. But I will leave you with one particular question that I hope you sit and think about. When was the last time that you made a decision to not do something that you wanted to do? Whether it's hanging out with a new friend, getting up on stage and talking, or just doing something different. Why didn't you make that decision? What came into your head? What made you analyze and decide, you know what? No, this is not for me. The theme of today's talk is dreams in motion. And all these amazing speakers ventured to say, why not? They weren't just getting up here and talking about something they didn't care about. They said, why not? And it gave them the experience that they could share with you all today. So I hope instead of overanalyzing, poring over the pros and cons of something, that you simply ask yourself next time you're faced with a big choice, why not? Thank you for your time.